And we are live from Schmoes of the North Entertainment. Hello, and how are you all doing out there? My name is Dave, and I am here with a couple guests, including my good friend Daniel. Daniel, how are you doing today?
Not bad, not bad. Excited for this interview, and we had to do this one live when we figured out that everyone's hyping up these DragonCon competitors, and so the most hyped one you would have to say is the most recent winner. Wouldn't you agree?
I would agree, and that is why I am so glad to bring to the table at Northern Consultations. Oh my God, do you think I've never done this show before? Marie E. Wilson, how are you doing today?
I'm great, doing awesome, excited to be here.
Well, we are excited to have you on, and to everyone watching, thank you for checking this out live. I guarantee this will be at least an adequate show. Not great because I'm on it, but at least adequate. So, Marie, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself as you are coming into this space pretty fresh?
Yes. Basically, Star Wars is a second job that I don't get paid for. So I'm on 2 Star Wars podcasts. I have a Star Wars review blog and a Star Wars YouTube channel. So I've got a lot going on in the realm of Star Wars, and it's all done for free. So I love it. I'm passionate about it. It makes me happy.
How did you discover that love of Star Wars? Because obviously you didn't just wake up one morning and say, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start several podcasts about Star Wars. What was it about Star Wars that drew you in?
Well, I was introduced to it so I'm 34. I was introduced to it when I was 10 years old and immediately was hooked. I loved it. So that was the original trilogy. Absolutely loved it. And then on my tests, I would draw little pictures of different Star Wars characters at the end of the test after I finished my essay question. And I went to a museum exhibit called The Magic of the Myth when I was 11, and it was just wonderful. Getting to see the costumes and the puppets and everything was super cool. And then the prequels came out, and I'm a huge prequelist, so that was a big deal for me. And it kind of went on the back burner a little bit. And then right before, a year before a year before the old stuff became Legends, I had started reading Star Wars books again, and the chapter books, getting into them, the adult novels, and was loving it. Darth Caedus with Jason and Jaina, I was loving that stuff. And then Disney said, "Oh, well, we bought Lucasfilm, and no longer is that canon." And at first, I was super sad because I love Jason and Jaina. I wanted Han and Leia's kids to be Jason, Jaina, and Anakin, and that just killed me. But I came to a revelation. I was like, hey, with canon being restarted, I can start from the very beginning of what is published and read literally everything that comes out. So I read the adult novels, the middle grade novels, the young adult novels, all the comics, and the children's books and the reference books. So literally everything that is canon that has been published, I own and have read probably 95% of it.
Do you have a favorite of the new canon? I know that's a loaded question for a lot of people.
Movie-wise?
Movie-wise, or just you know what? This is you're getting into the movie trivia Schmodown.
Right,
maybe
exactly.
The favorite movie.
My favorite movie of all time actually is Rogue One.
That's a good one. That is a popular one that I hear a lot of people saying. What is it about Rogue One that makes it stand out above the rest for you?
because I've always wanted, I mean, it's called Star Wars, right?
Mhm.
I've always wanted a war movie. And when you see Rogue One, it is a war movie. It is gritty, it is real, it is raw, and you're introduced to these characters that you know aren't going to make it through the end, but you fall in love with them anyway. And some of them have great humor, others have great heart. Like my favorite is Bodhi Rook. I love Bodhi Rook so much. And the pilot guy, and he has so much heart. He's such a good person. And I just love that. And so you get to know these characters that are really wonderfully fleshed out, even though they all die at the end of the movie.
Yeah. So now let's sorry, Daniel. I feel like I've said every word.
I was just listening along and a little bit agreeing with your choice of Rogue One in that, like, I look at that movie in pretty high regard, mostly because, and also Jason and Jaina. I fully agree on that. I wished that was Rey and Kylo, but like what we got was not so bad. I don't disagree with it.
Yeah.
But I love Rogue One because it's not about Skywalkers, and it's one of the few Star Wars films that is not about Skywalkers. And
right.
That it's fun to get to know the world outside of one family, and that one really.
Exactly.
So how did you make the jump from loving everything, reading the books and stuff? How did you get involved in trivia, Star Wars trivia specifically, to the extent, again, where you, as we mentioned, are the outgoing DragonCon champion?
So I went to DragonCon for the first time in 2017 and saw on the schedule that there was a Star Wars trivia contest. And I was like, well, this sounds cool. Like, I think I'll try this out. I know my Star Wars. I know I do because I read it all. And I've seen all the movies multiple times. So I was like, I'll try this out. And I went and took the test. And it was funny because after I took the test, they had told us that I can't remember the exact percentage, but it's a very low percentage you have to get because the questions are so hard. Like that to get in the top 10, like you have to really, really know your stuff. And I took the test and I calculated what I thought was my score, and I was like, I think I did pretty good. And then it was funny because the trivia master's mom she kind of runs the administrative part of it all. He comes up with the questions and asks the questions during the live final, and writes the questions for the test. But she's kind of the administrative person behind it all. And so I turned in my written test to her, and I was like, and she was like, better luck next time. And I was like, I think I did pretty good. Like, I'm not too worried about it. I wish I'd done better, but like, I think I'm good. And the next day they posted the top 10, and I was number 6 or 7 out of 10. Just my first, no studying, like just going into it completely fresh. And that just lit a fire under me. And I was like, I want to succeed at this because I'm a super competitive person. In school, I was always really academically competitive. So in trivia, it plays right into that because it's like knowledge, like what do you know? What do you remember? What connections can you make? So that lit that fire under me, and I was like, I can do this. I want to do better next year. And so 2018, so that's when I started my blog, was because I was like, I want to study. So my blog is a way for me to study for trivia.
Yeah.
And I want to reach people too, but it started originally because I wanted to study for trivia. And so 2018 came along, and I was in the top 10 again. and 2019 top 10, I was number 4. And I was like, and I missed a hyphen in a name. That's what prevented me. Sifo Diaz. But there's a hyphen between Sifo and Diaz. And I didn't put the hyphen. So I didn't make it to the top 3. I was so sad. I was like, no, it got ripped from me. But so I mean, obviously I knew the answer. I just didn't do it perfect. So I was like, I'm going to get this. I'm going to get this perfect. And to prepare for 2020, and I'm so glad I did this, because it turns out that it was 2 of the rounds of questions in that trivia final, the live final. I can identify 83 clone troopers by appearance. So that was 2 of the rounds, is we had to do that. I had to identify those troopers. And so I was like, yes.
Daniel, how many clone troopers can you identify?
None, honestly.
I think I got Cody, Rex. You show me 5s in the lineup. I think I got him. I think he's got a handprint on his chest. The Echo after he gets all blown up, and that's it. That's it.
4 or 5.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Not bad.
99. I know what I could tell you what 99 looks like. He looks like Quasimodo.
Yeah, pretty much.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just was curious if me and Daniel could identify any clone troopers.
Nope.
And I made Daniel go first, so I had time to think. So
I also was not stealing any from you, because I've definitely seen all the Star Wars movies, but I've much preferred like the extended universe stuff, the books, the comics, all of that.
Yeah.
So I have been very saddened by the movies, not including a lot of that stuff, because it makes me excited. But apparently Mandalorian introduced the Jedi planet, so that's going to be interesting.
Well, you're talking about Tython?
Yeah.
So it's definitely one of the older, but it's kind of like up in the air. No one really knows for sure, because there's also Octo from Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, which was considered the Jedi like beginning world. So it's kind of up in the air what exactly the answer to that question is.
So how do you get involved in the Schmodown now? Obviously, you're pushing DragonCon, you're really getting there, and eventually you get that win. But what makes you want to throw your hat into the Schmodown?
Oh my gosh. So just the fact, so because of DragonCon, Alex and I are friendly with each other. We say hey and talk a little bit at DragonCon. And we've competed for the past 4 years together up on stage. And so he kind of talked to me about it a little bit. And I was like, because I'd heard that he was this, great winner in the Star Wars division of the Schmodown. And I'm like, well, how does he get to be on that? Like, I want to be on that. Like, what in the world? What makes him so good? So I was like, I know I can take him. So he's reached out to me a little bit actually and pushed me and been like, hey, this is what, you can do. Trying help, like figuring out like, okay, so these are the audition tapes you need to send in, like helping me out with that kind of stuff, because he knows that I want it. And he's such a great guy. He's been really wonderful with that. So it's through him that I discovered the Schmodown, and I think it's so fun. Like, I did a lot of theater when I was a teenager, so the whole aspect of this like face and heel and like having a persona that you take on, and mixed with the testing your knowledge, like those mixed together, that's awesome. That just sounds like so much fun.
Yeah, I find most competitors and most fans always come from like everyone is a fan of the trivia aspect, and you either come from a wrestling or like improv theater sort of background, and it's the melding of all of those things that makes everybody click and kind of join into the fun.
Yeah.
So, when you first, how do you think your DragonCon preparations and stuff will help you as you transition into the Schmodown, which obviously is just movie focused? You're not going to be forced to identify many clone troopers,
Right. Exactly.
except for Cody.
Yeah. So, well, you the first thing is that it is a lot easier to sit down and watch 12 movies and make flashcards and pause and rewind and go through each movie frame by frame for 12 movies than it is to do it for 12 movies, 133 Clone Wars episodes, Rebels, Resistance, Mandalorian, all the books, all the comics. So I feel like it's a little more contained than it is for DragonCon trivia, and that's exciting because I can make even more flashcards. Like so just get really down to the nitty-gritty of real picky things and for preparing for DragonCon 2020, I wrote over 1,000 flashcards. So
I don't even know where I'd put 1,000 flashcards.
Also, on the plus side, studying for the Schmodown will just shore up that 12 movie set when you do DragonCon. So
exactly. Yeah.
One thing I love about like all of the players coming from DragonCon is that like you're all very familiar with Alex, and in the Schmodown, he is very much looked at as an untouchable figure, and all of you guys are just like peers to him, if not like determined to beat him, and it's very exciting to see this shift in the Force, we'll say.
There has been an awakening.
Yes.
Is that the quote? Do 1 point?
Yes.
So you talk about coming from doing a lot of theater as a kid. How do you think you're going to interact once you get into the personas and the character work? Is that something that really excites you? And do you think you can balance the character work and the trivia?
I think so. As I said, I already treat Star Wars as a second job that I don't get paid for. So it is something that I do all the time anyway. And so that trivia aspect, studying and being prepared and everything will just come naturally as part of my day to day. And then the acting part of it will be fun to get back into that simply. Like it's been so long since I've done it, and I absolutely adore theater and putting on a character and becoming someone else. And so I think both aspects of it I would really enjoy, so I don't think it would be that difficult to really make that balance.
Now, how do you see yourself fitting in to a faction? Obviously, now that I'm sure you have familiarized yourself, if not managers have been reaching out. How do you see yourself fitting onto a team?
So there are a few teams. I mean, obviously you have the teams that are a little more intense and the teams that seem more outwardly supportive. And so there's different kinds of personalities. I don't feel like I can really make that determination of where I feel like I would fit in best. I feel like it would need to be the manager or the faction that would reach out and be like, "Hey, I think you would work well with us," because they're the ones that have been doing this and they're going to pick their 3 people to continue on. And so those people will be part of them already. So I want to be able to mesh with whoever I get, if I get chosen, whoever I would get chosen to be with.
Now,
And
sorry.
I was gonna say, with like the emphasis this year of like there's going to be so many Star Wars and IG matches, which happen to be worth more points to those factions. They're going to be quite competitive fields and also quite competitive spots on the roster.
Right.
One thing I just want to ask is, in that sort of team dynamic, do you happen to have other sorts of inner geekdom knowledge that you can help train with those other players, as well as helping them on Star Wars, obviously?
Yeah. Not so much. Because my other big favorite fandom, and it's hardly a fandom, is Dune. So that's really my second thing is Dune, and then maybe Planet of the Apes. So things that are like not necessarily Marvel and DC or Harry Potter, not the big ones that have like a bajillion movies involved for each one. So I'm very specifically niche with the things that I enjoy. So yeah, it's not so much able to help with Marvel and DC. I do prefer DC over Marvel though.
That's the correct answer.
I was mostly curious because like Alex has Middle Earth, and like there are Star Wars competitors who love Star Trek as well, and that is a very interesting like dynamic to help and maybe branch them farther into the Schmodown space in later years. But that's another story for way down the road. And it doesn't take anybody to like it doesn't take anybody with tons of knowledge to just help read questions. So
oh yeah, exactly. I'm up for helping out.
It all works.
Yeah, I definitely want to be a supportive, helpful part of a team, for sure.
And if there's any category that needs to be added to Inner Geekdom, it's definitely Planet of the Apes. Like, come on already.
Disney animated musicals.
Daniel, you gotta stop. You gotta stop beating that drum, man. It's not happening.
Hey, I beat the Schmodown drum until it happened.
Fair. You know what? Yeah, fair. Just to get back to you for a second. When you started hearing about Alex competing in the Schmodown stuff, did you watch any of the Schmodown, the Star Wars tournament last year? And if so, how did you stack up?
So I did watch. I tried to catch. Okay, first off, I have found it incredibly difficult to figure out how, when, and where things are happening. So I have tried my best to like navigate this labyrinth of information. So I watched a few matches last season, and then recently I've been watching more just because I'm trying to prepare and get ready and prep myself. But I did watch a few matches and I did pretty good.
That is obviously very good to hear. And I would hope that you didn't say, you know what, I did bad, guys. Do not draft me. So it's always
are deep. No.
Guys. I thought we were just talking about what's the blue droid's name. Now we like to give every competitor that comes on the show just especially rookies, just totally uninterrupted, just sell yourself. Tell managers why they should draft you. Me and Daniel aren't going to get in the way. Just give us your best self.
Okay. So I am Marie E. Wilson, and I am here to succeed. And I want to be pushed, and I want to be challenged, and I want to really climb the mountain that is the Schmodown. And I know that I can do this. I know how to study, I know how to prepare. I love doing it, it's my passion. Star Wars is already part of my life, that it's part of my day to day, so that wouldn't be any different for me. I am on 2 podcasts, I have a blog, I have a YouTube channel, all Star Wars, so I'm inundated with it, I know the material, and I wanna be a team player, and I wanna work well with others, and I'm excited to really build a community and really the biggest thing is I want a challenge. That's my biggest thing is lately I've been lacking challenge in my life, and that's something that I really want to add.
I hope that the Schmodown can deliver the challenge that you are seeking.
Yeah. And I don't know how many shows you've been on with Lou, but he's been bringing up this topic after the promo bit to kind of picture a faction that they would fit on.
Yes. I think she would. I think Marie. She's got a great. She obviously has a wealth of knowledge and is also just a very positive person. At least that's what she's. I don't know her personally. That's just what she's portraying to me right now. Palpatine seemed like a cool dude too, but I think the quirky Mercs would go great with her. Coy and her would hit it off right away. Whether or not Scrimshaw stays on there, I think the two of them could work very well together. So quirky Mercs for me. And tell me now, Daniel, why does she belong on Corruption? Because you want everyone to go to Corruption.
I wasn't thinking Corruption. The honest answer is I don't know which faction, but I think it should be the one that Liz Shannon Miller is on, because I think you guys would get along very well, and I think you have very similar personalities and vibes that would really help a faction, I think.
And like I say on every interview I'm on, though, I think every faction could benefit from having you on their roster. We've only been speaking for a little bit now, and this has already been incredible. We've displayed how little me and Daniel know and how much you know, so that's always fun. Before we get into wrapping things up here, is there anything else that you'd really like to share with the community, managers, Christian, just me and Dan? We'll keep a secret, I promise.
Oh man. Anything I'd like to share additionally? I feel like there's, all my stuff that I do, but I guess this is kind of unrelated, but it's kind of cool, I think, and it's my biggest Star Wars passion. Is my YouTube channel is Afra's Artifacts, and it's about queer Star Wars.
Okay, can you just tell us a little bit more about that, because that's obviously interesting to us.
Yeah, absolutely. So since New Canon started, there have been a number of new LGBTQ plus characters and species in Star Wars, and I have been super passionate about learning about them all, sharing them with the world, and getting people to realize that there is queer representation in Star Wars, and to see themselves in Star Wars, and to see those relationships that actually mean something to you and really connect with you. So I think that's so important. And I was on a panel at DragonCon called Star Wars Representation Matters, where I was like the LGBTQ expert. And that was just, it was a blast. It was so much fun. And that's my big, besides like knowing the trivia, my big Star Wars passion is having people see themselves in Star Wars.
That if ever there was a noble passion, I think that really is one.
It's fun. I love it. Makes me happy.
Oh, that's do what makes you happy. Now, there's a question we like to ask everyone who comes on to Northern Consultations, whether they be players, managers, rookies, what have you. Is if Emperor Palpatine was coming with the Death Star, I guess a very tiny Death Star to blow up all the movies in the world. There's not going to be any new movies made. No more. You can't watch movies anymore. But he's nice enough to tell you you got a week to watch 3 movies to say goodbye to the medium. What would those 3 movies be?
So, if it isn't already obvious, number 1 would be Rogue One, because I already said that was my favorite movie of all time. And then second would be Rise of the Planet of the Apes. That movie, oh my God. Like I love the science part of it, like the genetic engineering and all that stuff. And then when the apes take over, and it's just so good. And then my third would be, and this is cheating a little bit because it's a mini series, but I consider it a movie. Children of Dune.
That's a good pick.
Yeah, not bad picks. And we continue the trend of nobody picking the same movies. And I think we recently had Inception picked for the second time, but other than that, no movie has been repeated 2 times.
A lot of people, I'll go stop you right there, because I know I'm the guy who edits all these shows, so I've seen everyone's stuff. A lot of people say I'm going to cheat and watch the entire original Star Wars trilogy. We've had a few.
Yes, especially recently. I was trying, like, not sure how many people had said it yet on our release schedule, but we do have a lot of people saying that. And I do have one last small question before we get into the plugs and saying goodbye. Who's your favorite Jedi or Sith or just lightsaber wielder? Just favorite character, kind of.
110% not Darth Vader, but Anakin.
Can you tell us a little bit why? Because I feel like you having to specify, some people may have find that surprising.
So I know he's awkward. I know he's whiny. I know all that stuff. I'm well aware. But it's because the poor kid, like, he had "you're the chosen one" thrust on him from a very young age. He had all these expectations he had to live up to. He doesn't know what he's doing. And you really think he knows how to flirt when he's been in the temple and told he can't do that for his whole life? Like, he's going to be naturally awkward. And so I think that he's very real, and that sometimes life isn't perfect and you're not a smooth person talking, and that and I love that. I also think he has such a good heart, and he loves harder than any other fictional character ever. That his love is so intense that it led him to the dark side. And I think that's really fascinating.
That's a good way of looking at Anakin Skywalker, and it's definitely going to change the way that I look at him in a couple instances.
Well, thank you.
Changing hearts and minds all over the place. So, Daniel, anything else you wanted to add?
Nope, that's about it. I might as well just toss my plugs in while I'm here. I'm at Avengers_SOTN on Twitter. That's AvengersEH. And you can also find me on our Facebook group at Schmoes of the North, where we do random discussion posts about the Schmodown. And also, I've been running some fantasy leagues through the last season and hope to continue them into this season. So if anybody is interested in running their own mock faction, you should come in, join our Facebook group, and message me sometime.
Am I allowed to message you?
No, because you're already signed up.
No. All right. Well, it was a funny joke, Daniel, but come on. Marie, how about you? Where can the good people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Alia Morgaine. Alia is from Dune, by the way. So, and you can find my Star Wars review blog where I post every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at the StarWarsReview.blogspot.com. And I'm on the Tumbling Saber podcast once a month talking about Star Wars books and comics for a couple hours. And every Wednesday, I am on the Beyond the Blast Doors podcast talking for a few minutes about the newest Star Wars comic.
A lot of new stuff for me to check out. And for me, you can find me right here on Shores of the North on YouTube. Leaves Me Alone is a terrible follow. Don't worry about that. That's just the screen name I have here. So make sure you like and subscribe to Schmoes of the North if you haven't already. Share this video with your friends. And more importantly, share this video with potential managers. Let's get Marie drafted. And from all of us here at Schmoes of the North, have a good night.
Bye.